I see you came. Are you prepared?
Certainly, Master. Or have you lost your touch?
Let us begin. Surely you can do better.
Only if you can keep up.
Your agility has improved considerably. It appears a Toru suits you well.
Makashi may be refined for the likes of you, but this form keeps me on my toes.
But can it withstand this?
Nice try.
Impressive. It seems you haven't lost your touch after all. It's good to see you, Qui-Gon, even if it's just for a brief moment.
And you as well, Master.
Of course. Shall we?
What brings you back here, Master?
Before we delve into the matters at hand, may I ask how you've been, my old friend? My deepest condolences on the loss of Xanatos.
Xanatos was indeed troubled. I regret not being able to offer him more guidance.
Not everyone is destined to walk the path of the Jedi, my former Padawan. You must not burden yourself with blame. Instead, take solace in the person you have become.
I suppose so.
Have you considered taking another apprentice? You might find promise among the younglings that Yoda is training. I have observed several children with great potential, from Kashyyyk, Utapau, Stu-Jun.
In time, the future may call. But for now, the present demands my full attention. The path to another apprentice is not yet clear. For now, my focus remains here.
Do you dream, Qui-Gon? What life might be like if we could simply leave it all behind? The politics, the wars, the ceaseless conflict.
Often. But we are Jedi. And our duty is to the Republic, to peace and justice. The galaxy needs us now more than ever.
Sometimes I believe the galaxy demands too much of us, particularly the Republic.
Perhaps. But we are who we are. And we must trust in the Force to guide us, Master.
I suppose so. You remember what I told you years ago?
And what would that be?
Your flaw is that you depend too strongly on the will of the Force.
Ah, yes. Betrayal is inevitable. I remember it fondly, Master.
I will tell you now what I told you then. Be careful who you trust, Qui-Gon. Even the Republic itself.
Wait for your moment, Sidious. This is not a chase. This is a summoning. You need to get behind the eyes of your target and become the object of its desire. The same holds true when you summon the Force. You must make yourself desirable, fascinating, addictive, and whatever power you need will be at your command. Now, another one. And another one after that. Feel the power of the dark side flow through you. We serve nature's purpose by culling the herd, and our own by sharpening our skills. We are the predatory swarm. Few of my people are aware of just how wealthy I am, since most of my riches derive from activities that have nothing to do with the ordinary business of finance. For many years, my peers wondered why I chose to remain unwed, and ultimately reached the conclusion that I was, in essence, married to my work. They had no idea how right they were, except that my real bride is the dark side of the Force, what the ancients called Ogun, as separate from Ashla. Even the Jedi understand that there is no profit in partnering with a being who lacks the ability to understand what it means to be in the grip of the Force. And so the Order restricts marriage by dogma, in service, so the Jedi say, to the purity of Ashla. But Ashla is a perversion, for the dark has always preceded the light. The original idea was to capture the power of the Force and make it subservient to the will of sentient life. The Ancients, the Celestials, the Rakata, moved planets, organized star systems, conjured dark side devices like the Starforge as they saw fit. If millions died in the process, so be it. The lives of most beings are of small consequence. The Jedi have failed to understand this. They are so busy saving lives and keeping the Force in balance that they've lost sight of the fact that sentient life is meant to evolve, not languish in stasis. No doubt the texts I've provided contain references to the so-called potentium theory, that light and dark depend on the intention of the user. This is yet another perversion of the truth perpetrated by those who would keep us shackled to the Force. The power of water and the power of fire are entirely different. Glaciers and volcanoes both have the potential to transform landscapes, but one does so by burying what lies beneath, where the other spews forth new terrain. The Sith are not blessed stars but singularities. Rather than burn with muted purpose, we warp space and time to twist the galaxy to our own design. To become truly powerful requires more than compliance. It demands obstinacy and tenacity. Always be receptive to the currents of the dark side, because no matter how nimble you think you are, the Force will show you no pity. As you've learned, your body sleeps, but your mind is never at rest. A Jedi can produce a facsimile, but not true Sith lightning, which can incapacitate, kill, or even transform the victim. It requires a strength only a Sith can command. Because we accept consequence and reject compassion, the Force must be broken and made a beast of burden. made to answer to one's will. But the Force cannot be treated differentially. In order to summon and use lightning properly, you will someday have to be on the receiving end of its power, as a means of taking the energy inside yourself.
Will I eventually, perhaps, be transformed physically?
Into some aged, pale-skinned, raspy-voiced, yellow-eyed monster, you mean? Such as the one you see before you? Surely you are acquainted with the lore, King Omen of Onderon, Darth Sion, and Nihilus. But whether it will happen to you, I can't say. Know this though, Sidious, that the power of the dark side does not debilitate the practitioner as much as it debilitates those who lack it. The power of the dark side is an illness no true Sith would wish to be cured of. A being trained in the killing arts doesn't wait for you to acquire him as a target, or establish him or herself as an opponent, as if in some martial arts contest. Your reactions must be instantaneous, and nothing less than lethal. For you are a Sith Lord, and will be marked for death. Feast your eyes on our handiwork.
I see nothing but ruined droids.
Darth Bane advised, one day the Republic will fall, and the Jedi will be wiped out. But that will not happen until we are ready to seize that power for ourselves.
When? How will we know when the time is right?
We are close to knowing. For 1,000 years, the Sith have allowed themselves to be reduced to the stuff of folklore. Since it serves our purposes, we've done nothing to counter the belief that we are perversions of the Jedi, evil mages, embodiments of hatred, rage, and bloodlust, capable even of leaving the residue of our malefactions in places of power. Through power, we gain victory, and through victory, our chains are broken. But remember, Sidious, power is only a means to an end.
Are we grand enough?
You should ask, are we crude enough? We are not living in an age of giants, Sidious. But to succeed, we must become as beasts.
You appear to be enjoying the steak, Ambassador Palpatine. I hope it isn't too gamey.
It is rather exquisite. Scarcely a trace of the wild.
Are you on Malastare for business or pleasure?
As luck would have it, both. Kinnaman Doriana and I are members of Senator Kim's party.
Charmed.
You're not kidding.
Senator Kim is the tall one with the quaint beard?
No, he's the one with the 3 eye stalks.
So, Senator, are you married?
Unfortunately not. Frequent travel forbids it.
Married to politics, is that it?
To the work.
To the work.
Tell me, Ambassador, are you one of those men with a friend in every spaceport?
I am always eager to make friends. We are alike in that way.
Are you perhaps a Jedi mind reader disguised in ambassadorial robes? I've often wondered whether they have secret relationships, gallivanting around the galaxy, using the Force to seduce innocent beings.
I wouldn't know, but I sincerely doubt it.
On Ariadu, some believe that a cleft chin identifies someone the Force has pushed away.
Just my luck.
Just your luck indeed. Here's a note. I have hostess duties to attend to, Ambassador, but I'm free after midnight.
Nicely played. I'm taking notes.
A gift to you.
A card? When you earned it? I'm not that desperate. Yet, anyway.
Palpatine, this Doriana could prove to be useful in your quest. If it is conquest within politics you seek, you will need allies.
Kim's coming.
Don't think I didn't see that.
See what, Senator?
The flimsy card that woman slipped you. I suppose you entertained her with the usual tall tales.
I may have said something about
Getting to know the galaxy.
Getting to know the galaxy's women, he means.
How is it that I come to have assistants that leave trails of conquest, and a son who meditates on the Force in the temple?
That's what makes you so well-rounded, Senator.
Soon, the Jedi son of Kim, his fate will intersect with yours, Sidious. Give order to the future by attending to it with your thoughts.
Come and join us upstairs at the meeting table. One day, you'll be replacing me at this job, and the sooner you grow accustomed to what goes on, the better. Who knows? A few hours of senatorial gossip might even be enough to deter you from going into galactic politics altogether.
Senator Kim, welcome back, and this must be your new apprentice, so to speak.
Oh, new blood.
I quite enjoyed the pod races.
You're too young to have witnessed them in their glory days, Ambassador. Though that was before Tatooine succeeded in capturing the fancy of all race enthusiasts.
And have your duties taken you to that horrible place?
Just 2 months ago.
And how did you find it?
Contentious. What with the Dissylogic and Besade huts vying for control?
Of course. I am in agreement with that.
Perhaps Gardula's rivalry with Jabba will one day result in Malistar's resurgence. Though I am certain Boss Cabra favors Gardula out of respect for the help she provided on Nar Shaddaa.
Whatever mark we made on Nar Shaddaa, we made on our own. Ask any Black Sun. We will always be indebted to Gardula for her efforts on our behalf.
Tatooine is too remote and lawless to have any impact on galactic events in any case. It's the activities of the Trade Federation that should concern the Republic. Look what the Federation has done to our Naboo.
It is my understanding that Naboo embraced the arrangement.
Some did.
No one can deny that your world has prospered as a result.
Prospered, yes, but not nearly to the extent it should have. If not for the deals Higo Damask brokered with the banking clan, the Trade Federation, and Outer Rim Construction, Naboo would be as wealthy as Kuwait and Chandrila. Higo Damask, Naboo's plasma is being sold for 10, sometimes 20 times what the Federation pays for it.
A monster of our own creation, the Trade Federation didn't become powerful by exploiting the Outer Rim. It was supported by Eriado's own House Valorum, and supported by Targe and the others.
Then perhaps the time has come for us to make our dissatisfaction public. The Munes are merely avaricious, but the Trade Federation have the potential to become dangerous.
I agree with the good senator from Naboo. Even now, the Trade Federation seeks to seat its client worlds within the Senate.
This troublesome Higo Damask has been making the rounds. But, Boss Cabra, I have a question for you. Is the Black Sun aware that the son of Higo Damask's operating officer, Lars Hill, is in line to become the chairman of the banking clan? I've also heard rumors to the effect that Damask has been meeting with the heads of the guilds, the Corporate Alliance, and the Techno Union. What might become of trade of any sort if he brokered a deal between them and the Trade Federation?
Damask is a tyrant. You need to stop him.
Here's the point. If we're going to prevent the Trade Federation and the mutants from tightening their hold on the Senate, we need to band together and vote to defeat the proposed legislation.
Do you agree that the Trade Federation needs to be taken down a notch, Ambassador?
May I?
Speak freely.
Senator Kim and I are in complete accord on the issue, and have been for some time. No single corporate entity can be allowed to grow too powerful, especially at the expense of developing worlds. Naboo must safeguard its interest, just as Eriadu, Ensullust, and Sluisvan have safeguarded theirs.
Is Naboo prepared to assume control of transporting its plasma? Aren't you in danger of biting the proverbial hand that feeds you?
Naboo has no intentions of planetizing the Trade Federation's facilities. We are simply pressing for a renegotiation of the original contracts.
So you feel a defeat in the Senate might make the Trade Federation more pliable, as it were?
Only those bills that support well-reasoned regulation should win approval in the Senate.
Well put.
If you will excuse me, gentlemen.
I hope to see more of your potential, Ambassador Palpatine. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, if you also excuse me.
What do you mean, an accident?
We are sorry, Senator. There were no survivors. Arrangements have been made.
Arrangements? Arrangements? What? My family? You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious.
Senator, may the Force be with you.
No.
Senator Kim.
They're dead. Everyone. My wife. My wife. My sons. My wife. My son. No, my wife. I only have one hope for a family, Palpatine. My son.
But Rona is a Jedi Knight. His family is the Order.
I need him more than the Order needs him. Only he can carry the Kim line forward. Just as you someday will carry on the Palpatine line.
A word, Ambassador. My heart goes out to poor Vidar, a starship crash of all things. One would have thought such a tragedy might compel him to retire from politics, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Well, you of all people would understand the effect of such unforeseen developments.
Vidar is planning to return to Coruscant before the month is out.
On Senate business?
Personal, I suspect.
The last time you and I stood together was at the inaugural ceremony for the plasma generator. You look well. Changed, I think, from your travels.
Broadened.
The very word I was searching for. It has reached my ear that you made quite an impression on Siswana Sector Senator Ranulph Tarkin on your recent trip.
I wasn't aware.
He enjoyed hearing your views on the Trade Federation's plan to seat some of its client worlds in the Senate. Would you care to elaborate on what you told him?
I offered nothing substantive. In fact, I was merely playing politics.
I'm relieved to hear that. As you know, the King and I have arrangements with the Trade Federation. We're facing discontent from our constituents, and they won't appreciate Naboo voting against legislation that Damask Holdings supports.
I can appreciate your predicament. Why not order Senator Kim to vote in favor of the Trade Federation?
Kim knows about our arrangements and wants to use this to send a message to the Federation and Tapalo's detractors. Recalling him from Coruscant would suggest Naboo is still at the Federation's mercy, jeopardizing our standing with the other trade worlds.
Perhaps it will be worth the risk to vote against the Trade Federation.
Go on.
Whether the legislation passes or gets stalled, Naboo's contracts with the Federation won't change. The Federation will keep profiting off of our plasma, but at least Naboo will be on record as having resisted the galactic conglomerates.
More playing politics? Is that it? And what about Magister Damask?
Apprise him of the plan beforehand. He's not unreasonable.
That just might work. It's a pity Naboo already has a voice in the Senate.
Should the opportunity ever arise, I will of course accept. But until then, I am content to serve in my own way.
Serve Naboo.
Who or what else?
One day, if I have my way, our Space Corps will include a fleet of swift Nubian fighters capable of chasing the Trade Federation from our system.
I too foresee the day.
Ah, but when? How long will we have to wait, Palpatine?
Only until Higo Damask awards you the throne. What celestial body is more luminous than a singularity hiding in plain sight, but more powerful than all?
You are quoting Darth Guile.
He goes on to compare the Sith to a rogue or malignant cell, too small to be discovered by scans or other techniques, but capable of spreading silently and lethally through a system. Initially, the victim simply doesn't feel right, then falls ill, and ultimately succumbs.
Consider the mindset of an anarchist who plans to sacrifice himself for a cause. For the weeks, months, possibly years leading up to the day he straps a thermal detonator to his chest and executes his task. He has lived in and been strengthened by the secret he carries, knowing the toll his act will take. So it has been for the Sith residing in a secret, sacred place of knowledge for 1,000 years, and knowing the toll our acts will take. This is power, Sidious. But true power needn't bear claws or fangs, or announce itself with snarls and throaty barks. It can subdue with manacles of shimmer silk, purposeful charisma, and political astuteness.
Master, your fascination with some of these planets continues to perplex me. Dathomir is meant to be a nexus of dark side power, yet I see nothing but cracked canyons, desolate villages, and common Zabrak filth.
Good sir.
Are you addressing me? I must apologize. I am not interested in any wares.
Wait! If you can spare a moment.
Very well. What exactly do you want from me?
You look like a man of intelligence and influence.
Save your praises for the rubies, woman. Even though you are correct that I am far from the rest, then you know I have no time to waste on confidence games or tricks, nor wasting my time.
I don't ask for credits.
What then? Come to the point.
It is a gift I offer.
A Zabrak infant. How do you come by this newborn? Have you stolen him?
You misunderstand, good sir. My own child, this one is.
You say that he is a gift, and yet you dissemble. Have you had dealings that have led you into such deep debt that you would part with your own flesh and blood?
Neither. I seek only to save his life.
Then speak honestly. You are a long way from your coven, Night Sister.
How?
Never mind how I know which. The child, whether yours or not, is a Night Brother, conceived for the purpose of serving the Sisterhood as a warrior and slave.
You are not a Jedi.
Clearly I am not. But you still haven't answered my question. Why are you trying to rid yourself of the infant?
To spare the one for the sake of the other. Half a clan pair this one is. And I want one to live freely since the other cannot.
Who poses the threat?
Talzin is her name.
Where is the infant's father?
Dead. By tradition.
Will the infant not be missed?
Talzin knows only of the one, not the other. Within her grasp, this son of Dathomir would belong to her. I wish to free him of that fate.
Her son? You delude yourself.
Then take him, please.
And what would I do with him?
This one is strong in the Force. In the right hands, he can become a powerful asset.
Have you named him?
His name is Maul.
You will forget this encounter.
I will try.
For your own sake, I hope you do. Now go, before I change my mind. Perhaps we could find some use for you.
I see that Marsh Hill is introducing his son to various people of the Gathering. It is also interesting to see the Geonosians and Zycherians join us for this evening.
You seem rather disparaged, Master.
Yes. We will not be denied. The Senate will bend to our will, no matter what the Grand Protectorate or Black Sun desire. Let the Hylian Way worlds believe the Trade Federation seeks more control. The true danger lies in the Senate ignoring their needs, sparking disenfranchisement across the mid and outer rims. Then the Republic will reap the whirlwind, and we will harvest the benefits. Pax's team and the rest aren't acting out of concern for the Republic, but out of fear that their entitlements might disappear if trade shifts to the outer systems. Half of them sit in the rotunda only because I want them there. They've forgotten how effortlessly they can be replaced. As for Varuna, you should encourage his plans to amass a space corps, to defend Naboo against the Trade Federation. When we make him king, we will lead him by the nose into a morass that will appear to be of his own making. The climate begins to shift, Darth Sidious. The body politic begins to show signs of contagion. The emergence of anger, hatred, and fear signal a loss of faith in the Force. The light is waning, pushed into retreat by dark matter, and the universe begins to seem inimical rather than comforting. In such times, beings are wont to look for solutions in the enactment of harsh laws, the ostracism of strangers, and warfare. Once the Republic has fallen, the Jedi are but a memory, and beings have nowhere to turn but to us. We will provide them with a sense of stability and order, a list of enemies, weapons capable of decimating entire star systems, Durasteel prisons in which they can feel secure. Look at them. How they hunger for the dark. It gnaws at them.
The Jedi won't simply stand by and do nothing, Master. While I have no affection for them, I do respect their power. And weakening the Republic without weakening the Jedi should provide them with justification for attempting a coup. They have the numbers to succeed.
Their time is coming, Sidious. The signs are in the air. Their order might have already been decimated had it not been for the setback Darth Gravitt dealt the Sith. But his apprentice carried the imperative forward, and each successive Sith Lord improved on it. Tenebrous and his master most of all. Though they wasted years attempting to create a targeted virus that could be deployed against the Jedi, separating them from the Force. We are animated by the same power that drives the passion of these beings gathered below. Target midichlorians, and we target life itself.
An attack of that sort would fail, regardless. The Jedi are widely scattered, and it is unlikely that we would be able to act quickly enough to kill all of them in the same instant. We would need to assign an individual assassin to each, and there would be no way to still the tongues of that many assassins. Our plan would be revealed. We would be betrayed and become the targeted ones.
don't want them to die too quickly, in any case. Not, that is, until the Republic has been so ravaged, so weakened, that beings will willingly embrace the stability we impose.
Are the weapons produced by the Colicoids meant to be used against the Jedi?
We shall see. No mere army can overwhelm the Jedi. The ancient Sith were tens of thousands strong and still failed. The galaxy was once full of warriors and warships. Now we have only scattered mercenaries and defense forces. We must return the galaxy to a state where barbarism is the norm.
The Jedi must be felled from within, lured into a trap of their own making.
Follow that thought.
We must exploit their vanity and blind obedience to the Republic. Making them appear as the enemies of peace and justice, rather than its guardians.
The enemies of peace and justice. Yes, even the survivors of a purge would be forced into hiding. Great care must be taken not to turn them into martyrs, Darth Sidious, if we want the galaxy to turn its back on the light side of the Force.
Forceful beings will continue to be born.
Without training and indoctrination, they pose no threat to us. You will see to that, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine.
You should be the one, Master.
No, it must be you. You have the political skills, and more importantly, you are a human. In this era, only a human can rise to the top.
In Sith history, you will be known as Plagueis the Wise.
You flatter me.
Whatever you ask of me, Master, I will do it.
Did I ever tell you about my first mission for my master?
No, Master.
Many years ago, when I was your age, Tenebrous had sought to expand his influence by allying with KRIT Sante, a human industrialist. Sante was the former owner of Sante Corporation, a company known for its freight vessels, but was struggling with personal starships. Tenebrous offered him exclusive rights to a ship designed by RYUCHI, hoping to secure an alliance.
And did it work?
For a time, yes. But Sante had other plans. He manipulated my master, allowing his agents to steal the ship's designs. It was one of the rare occasions I saw my master outmaneuvered. But Tenebrous didn't seek immediate revenge. The ship's success allowed Sante to acquire a controlling interest in Sinar technologies and Republic Sinar systems. Eventually, Naro Sinar, the president, entered a secret partnership with Tenebrous, and the time came to settle scores. I was invited to a design conference on Coralag, where many influential beings from Coruscant, Corellia, and Coat attended. Among them was KRIT Sante and his unhappy young wife, surrounded by an entourage. I was seated directly across from him, and the menu specialty that night was bloat eel. Have you ever tasted it, Sidious?
As a teenager, at a gala hosted by House Palpatine.
Then you know bloat eel is one of the most poisonous creatures in the galaxy. The preparation is both dangerous and exacting. It must be skinned alive to prevent toxins from infiltrating the flesh. The anticipation of near-instant death electrified the banquet as individual portions were served. I waited until Sunday took his first bite. Do you feel it? Now you understand what Sunday must have felt. But I didn't let go. I kept the pressure on until his face turned red. Medtechs, armed with antitoxin and medicines, stood by for just such an emergency, but none of it worked. The dark side had Sunday in its grip, and no drug could keep him alive. Your situation will be different. You won't have the satisfaction of watching our opponent die in person. We need to ensure your deniability. A public assassination on Coruscant would send the right message.
Senator Park's team.
Team may yet prove useful. I'm referring to Senator Vidar Kim. His sentiments have made him a liability. More important, his death will allow us to position you where you've long yearned to be.
So it will, Master.
And Sidious. Remember why the Sith are more powerful than the Jedi. Because we are not afraid to feel. We embrace the spectrum of emotions, from the heights of transcendent joy to the depths of hatred and despair. Fearless, we welcome whatever paths the dark side sets us on, and whatever destiny it lays out for us.
Senator Kim.
Thank you for coming at such short notice, Palpatine. You weren't followed, were you?
No.
Good, good. What I have to say will place you at some risk, but there's no one I would trust more than you.
Please, Vidar, unburden yourself.
Palpatine, I have reason to suspect that Tapalo and Varuna arranged the crash that killed my family.
Vidar, the crash was investigated and ruled an accident. Some problem with the antigrav.
Accidents can be faked. Systems can be sabotaged.
What motive would they have for killing your family?
I know their dirty little secrets. Payments from the Trade Federation. Deals to open Naboo to exploitation. By killing my family, they hope to push me into resigning.
Tapalo wouldn't attempt something so despicable.
The crash was a message, but it had the opposite effect.
How so?
I'm leaving for Coruscant this afternoon. My first act will be to notify the Jedi Order.
The Jedi listen only to the Senate and the Supreme Chancellor. You can't just walk into the temple.
I'll contact the Council through my son. If I can convince Rona to leave the Order, the information will be my gift to the Jedi.
And if Ronha doesn't want any part of this? Have you even been able to speak with him?
Regardless, I have to make contact.
And?
He told me that I'm a stranger to him.
Then that's the end of it.
No! He's agreed to meet me on Coruscant. The family must come first.
Will you promise to keep me informed?
This is my itinerary for the week. Take it. If something happens to me on Coruscant...
Stop, Vidar. We are getting ahead of ourselves.
You're right, Palpatine. We're too close in age for me to have thought of you as a son, but I do consider you the younger brother I never had. If Rona rejects my plea, what else will I have to live for?
a small part you will play in the revenge of the Sith.
This weather is abysmal. The Naboo have never heard of climate control.
Radical change has always come slowly to this world.
No doubt about that.
His schedule for Coruscant.
Perfect.
I want you to wait until his business on Coruscant is concluded.
Whatever you say.
He is threatening to alert the Jedi Order and the Senate Investigatory Committee about various deals that were made.
Then he deserves everything that's coming to him. Have you decided who to use from the data I supplied?
The Melodians.
Can I ask why?
The Mandalorian Death Watch has its own problems, and the Bando Gora its own galactic agenda.
I couldn't agree more. Besides, the Melodians are known to honor all their contracts.
How soon can you have them on Coruscant?
Perhaps it's best that remains on a need-to-know basis.
There can be no mistakes, Sheev.
If there are, I'm certain this will be our final conversation. I know fully well what Magister Damask and you are capable of, and I hope to prove myself worthy of continuing to serve you. One day, perhaps, you'll begin to think of me as family, as I'm sure Senator Kim does you.
You have no qualms about living a double life, Sheev.
Some of us are simply born into it.
So you will contact me here?
As soon as the work is completed. Just make sure to stay close to your comm.
You'll also be contacting Magister Damask.
He gave me the impression he'd be unavailable for the next few weeks, but I suspect we're safe in assuming that the results won't escape his notice.
This being is representative of the entire species?
This one murdered 6 members of his species, but he is otherwise typical of the Yinchori. The Yinchori's resistance to force suggestion and persuasion. They could be the perfect soldiers, immune to the very powers that might otherwise control them. An invaluable asset in the army I envision.
The lack of neural pathways to the forebrain indicates an innate proclivity for violence, although the absence could be idiosyncratic.
The Yinchori's violent nature could complicate matters, Magister. Without understanding their culture, a clone might exhibit feral behavior unless provided an outlet.
Can compliance be bred into them without affecting their violent tendencies?
Probably not without altering the basic personality matrix. We might end up with a clone that is merely Lenchuri in appearance, but lacks the species' signature traits.
That won't do.
Have you considered a more placid species? Thorians, perhaps, or Kamasis?
Neither would suit my purposes. What about humans?
Our experience with humans is limited, though we have grown many replacement organs. Human emotionalism is somewhat problematic, but not unsolvable.
I agree. Emotion is a fatal flaw in humans, compassionate to a fault. Even Sidious, with all his dark side strength, remains a prisoner of his emotions. His urge to extend his new powers is expected, But he must learn the lesson every Sith needs to grasp. Subtly, he manipulated Vidar Kim into a position where he became a liability. I didn't address it directly because Sidious is about to embark on a political career that will lead him to the Chancellorship. Sidious's reaction to the assassination orders, fleeting as it was, has convinced me of the need for additional tests. He doesn't need explanations for his mistakes. He needs to experience their consequences.
Perhaps, Magister, if we understood your plans for the Yinchori clones.
I would expect them to serve as soldiers.
Then obedience, not mere compliance, must be a prime consideration.
And yet some measure of free will is necessary. Otherwise, why not simply use combat automata?
These Yinchori seem ready-made for war, Magister. Are there so few that you need to clone an army?
As you've already pointed out, their innate bellicosity interferes with their ability to follow orders.
We would need to ensure that their violent tendencies remained intact, whilst their behavior was less willful.
Very challenging. Though perhaps if we could be supplied with a template for experimentation. Is this specimen available for thorough evaluation?
I could have him delivered to Camino, assuming you can provide what I need. How long would it take to grow a mature clone?
Certainly no fewer than 12 standard years for proper development. We've had some success in accelerating growth, but not with full sentience due to the plasticity of the youthful brain.
And while we could grow a few clones, our facilities aren't equipped to produce an army of any size.
We would also need to consult with military specialists regarding programming.
That can be arranged. Would you object to working with Rotana Heavy Engineering?
Of course not.
Then Damask Holdings can provide whatever funding you need.
The Prime Minister will be very pleased to hear this.
Thanks for meeting me on the run, Rona. I'm catching a transport to Naboo while the Senate's in recess. I need you to come back with me, re-establish your roots. I don't think you've been back, have you?
Meeting you is no problem, Senator Kim, but I have duties to perform and attend to. You know that I have no ties to Naboo. In your message, you said there was something specific you wished to discuss.
I need you to understand, son, that I'm not without influence. There are things that I know to which the Jedi aren't privy. I could be useful too, Rona, if you're willing to be useful to me. There are enemies all around us. I need your help.
You are full of fear, Senator.
Never mind. We'll discuss this at the spaceport.
Is the Maladian still alive?
No.
Are you certain?
Absolutely. I instructed her to make it public, which she did. She fired in full view of the security cam. I can't confirm if she knew Kim was with a Jedi, but the placement of the blaster bolt suggests she intended to take them both out.
The fool. If she had succeeded, the Jedi would be investigating.
They are anyway. Ronar issued a statement suggesting he might have been the target.
Why didn't you warn her about Ronar?
I did. Maybe she wanted to add another Jedi kill to her resume.
Another?
The Maladians are very skilled.
If Ronar thinks he was targeted, Kim might not have revealed his suspicions about Apollo and Varuna.
He didn't. I tracked him from the moment he arrived. He never went near the Jedi Temple or met with the Senate Investigatory Committee. His meetings with Ronar only included vague references to Naboo.
Did he persuade Ronar to leave the Order?
No, Ronar respects Kim as his progenitor, but considers the temple his home and the Jedi his family.
I warned him.
Kim tried to convince him that family blood comes first, but Ronar might as well have been listening to an episode of Coruscant Confessions.
Yeah. Magister Damask will not be pleased. What rumors are circulating in the Senate?
That Kim was involved in shady business and double-crossed lobbyists. The Senate is worried, if that was your aim.
It's done. In any case...
And without any leads for the police or the Jedi, you're clear.
You have done well, Sate. The close call notwithstanding, there's a place for you among my support group, if you are interested.
Then I'll see you on Coruscant, Senator Palpatine.
Indeed.
As wicked as Coruscant is, the Force is strong there because of the presence of so many Jedi. If you are successful in hiding in plain sight, you will be able to conceal your nature even from the most powerful among them. Take Ronar into your confidence, and once you have, spend some of your time on Coruscant, acquainting yourself with the spire headquarters of our enemy. And ask yourself, is this not a fortress designed to hold the dark at bay?
A funeral for my first official duty. How appropriate. Plagueis was right. This will be the perfect opportunity to test myself against the Jedi. Jedi Ronar Kim, please forgive the intrusion, but I wanted to offer my condolences in person.
Who are you?
Palpatine. I have been appointed to succeed Vidar Kim as Senator of Naboo.
Forgive me for not knowing more about Naboo, Senator Palpatine. Until several weeks ago, I wasn't even aware that Vidar Kim was my biological father.
No need to apologize. I imagine that the Force is, in some sense, its own domain.
I scarcely knew the man. Were it not for the fact that he was a Republic senator, the Jedi Council would not have granted dispensation for me to meet with him.
If I may ask, why did you choose to attend the service?
You know about the tragedy that claimed his wife and sons?
I do.
He contacted me, asking if I would renounce my pledge to the Jedi and take up the family name.
He told me. Does your presence here reflect doubt about your obligations?
No. I'm only here out of respect for the man. As you may know, he died at the hands of an assassin while in my company. If I had acted sooner, he would be alive. And at present, I can't be certain that the assassin's blaster bolts weren't meant for me rather than Vidar Kim.
Who in their right mind would target a Jedi Knight?
The Jedi do not lack for enemies, Senator. Doling out justice and ensuring the peace doesn't sit well with some beings.
The world of politics is no safer, Ronha. Not in this era, with so many in need. Oh, thank the Force, we have the Jedi.
I wonder.
You wonder about what, Ronha?
What my life might have been had I not become a Jedi.
The choice was not yours to make. You have the Force. Your destiny was a foregone conclusion.
And if Vidar Kim had elected not to surrender me to the Order?
A line of thought impossible to follow to any conclusion.
There are many forks in the path, Senator. Had I remained on Naboo, I might have followed in Vidar Kim's footsteps and entered politics. Perhaps it's not too late.
The idea of a politician with Jedi values is not without its appeal. The Republic was once overseen by Jedi chancellors, after all. But you are something of an anachronism, Ronha. The galaxy has moved on from enlightened leadership. Today the best politician is merely exceptional, while every Jedi is extraordinary.
More and more, Senator Palpatine, you begin to sound like my former master.
Would that I had such talents. But I do have a proposition, Ronha. I'm new to the Senate, and to Coruscant. It would be good to have someone to count on as a friend. What would you say to an alliance between a politician and a Jedi? You could gain insight into the workings of the Republic through me, and I might better understand the Jedi and their role as peacekeepers through you.
I respect Vidar Kim all the more for bringing us together. May the Force be with you, Senator Palpatine.
How can we trust the moons in Damask Holdings?
Damask Holdings? What about the Jedi and the one that has just gone on too long? This meeting must end soon.
This Dooku. I can sense that he is noble, restless, and teetering on edge. His passion and discontent make him vulnerable, ripe for manipulation. Could he be turned, not as a Sith, but as a shadowy ally? Sidious is powerful, but reckless. I remember a time ago that Dooku and his apprentice, Qui-Gon Jinn, he sabotaged my master's plans involving a senator. My master was furious. Yes, this Dooku could be the backup plan. A catalyst for a schism within the Jedi. I'll watch him closely. He might be the key to our future.
Enough! Selenon protests the presence of Jedi Master Dooku at this meeting, since it has come to our attention that he is Serenian by birth.
Ambassador, you have...
If I may. Had you simply investigated further, you would also know that I renounced all ties to my family and Sereno on being accepted into the Jedi Order. I assure you that I will be as impartial as any one of you.
Well, Jedi Master Dooku's reputation for even-handedness precedes him. We trust that he will be as fair in this matter as he is known to have been elsewhere.
With that issue behind us, I call for an official start to these proceedings. The main issue here is the construction of a hyperwave repeater in Selenan space.
This Aqualish project would extend the HoloNet into the corporate sector, which, as you know, is a major economic hub for the banking clan and corporate alliance, thanks to some deals with Damask Holdings. But Solanan wants to impose heavy transit taxes on ships entering its space from the Upper Hydian system, because of the changes this will cause in the hyperspace routes. Let us begin. "4 hours we've been at this. Shall we call a break?" This bickering is becoming all too common. In the absence of resolution, it will be the outlying systems that suffer the most.
The hyperwave repeater should have been a Republic undertaking. The Senate art in allowing the HoloNet to be privatized.
Discontent in the outer systems is in keeping with the aims of Damask Holdings. Is it not, Magister?
On the contrary. We advocate for the interests of neglected worlds when and wherever we can.
By supporting the likes of the Trade Federation and other cartels.
The Trade Federation has brought progress to many a backward world, Master Jinn.
Through exploitation that leads ultimately to ruin.
Progress often comes at a cost. On occasion, a world will go through growth pangs as a result. But to call the end result ruination is overstating the case. Surely the Jedi have had to ignore consequences of the same magnitude in enforcing the laws of the Republic.
It is a misconception that we serve only the Republic, Magister. Our order serves the greater good.
As the Order defines it. But then you have the advantage of acting in concert with the Force, while the rest of us must grope in the dark for what is just and right. Damask Holdings tries, nonetheless, to take the long view.
As do the Jedi, but in several instances where we have had to resolve conflicts. It is your name that has surfaced.
The wealthy are held to higher standards than the poor.
I blame the Senate for encouraging the galaxy to turn on credit.
I'm willing to concede Master Jinn's point that the Munes have cornered the market on finance. If he is willing to concede that the Jedi have cornered the market on ethics.
And so we find ourselves on different sides, Magister.
Not necessarily. Perhaps we are after the same thing.
Different paths to the same destination. It's a clever rationalization, but I refuse to accept it. If you'll excuse me.
My former apprentice does not mince words.
Frank talk is a rarity these days. The Senate could learn from beings like Qui-Gon Jinn.
The Senate listens only to itself, endlessly and without purpose. If it and Supreme Chancellor Darius are going to perpetrate a climate where injustice can advance, then it will.
The Rotunda is an arena even we don't enter, except as spectators.
But you have, from time to time, been known to lobby. It can be a circus. One thing is certain, however. The core is not holding. New leadership is needed.
Darius will undoubtedly be elected to another term.
Is there no one who can defeat him, Master Dooku?
Frix possibly, Kalpana eventually. At present he isn't strong enough to overcome the special interest lobbies.
We are sworn not to take an active role in any case.
Kalpana would certainly set a different tone, but perhaps an equally risky one. His stance against piratism, smuggling, even slavery is well known. Unfortunately, many of the outer systems survive only because of such practices.
Then those worlds will have to find alternative means.
Without assistance from the Republic? It begins to sound to me as if the Jedi will have their work cut out for them.
The Judicials and the Jedi will maintain peace.
There's certainty in your voice. But let me pose a question. If discontent spreads and intersystem conflict breaks out, if member worlds threaten secession, as Sereno threatened in times past, would your loyalties not be divided?
The Republic will be preserved.
Again, that comforting confidence. But suppose the Republic's goals were not in keeping with the greater good. Suppose conflict grew to become actual schism.
In the absence of armies, there can be no war.
Are the Jedi not an army? Or at least capable of becoming one, should the need arise?
We were an army at one time, but our enemies were vanquished. No matter the extent of the conflict, we would attempt to forge a peace, and without becoming the ruling body you seem to fear.
And yet you say forge a peace. That has the ring of semantics to it, Master Sidious. But for the sake of argument, what if the disaffected systems raised an army? Wouldn't the Jedi be obligated to serve and protect the Republic?
From where would these hypothetical armies arise? The outlying systems lack the resources.
I didn't mean to suggest that the Republic is purposely depriving the outlying systems of the right to self-determination. I'm merely speculating, because I do see a growing threat.
We're not alone in seeing it, Magister.
Then one final question, if I may. If attacked, would you counterattack?
The Republic has pledged to remain demilitarized. It would militarize only in the instance of a perceived threat.
Once more, you've reframed your initial question, Magister Damask. You're hypothesizing an attack on the Jedi Order itself.
I suppose I am. I was thinking of the recent assassination of Senator Vidar Kim. A Jedi was involved, if I'm not mistaken.
That matter is being looked into. There is no evidence to suggest that the Jedi in question was targeted.
I request all Jedi reconvene for a private discussion.
You are very insightful, Magister Damask. I hope you enjoy the rest of these proceedings, regardless of the outcome. May you all have a good evening.
Magister Damask.
Through you, we will have to exploit their self-righteousness and blind obedience to the Republic. The Jedi must be made to appear the enemies of peace and justice, rather than the guardians.
Magister Damask, lest you are thinking of investing in military enterprises, I can assure you that the Republic will not reverse its stance on demilitarization. The Ruusan reformations will not be repealed.
And I can assure you, Master Jedi, that my questions were in no means motivated by thoughts of profit. We, that is, I, don't wish to see the Republic caught off guard. For now, I'll place my faith in the Jedi, and in the belief that an army could be raised, if necessary.
What, you mean like out of thin air? Unlikely, Magister.
Grown, then.
Manufactured, you mean?
No, I was being literal. But I know of only one group that might be up to the task. The group who grew laborers to work the mines of Subterrel.
I'm not familiar with Subterrel.
They are the
Master Sidious, a word, please? We request your presence.
Magister Damask?
I apologize, Master Jedi. The name of the group was on the tip of my tongue, but I seem to have swallowed it. Do you recall what Darth Bane said regarding the killing of innocents?
Our mission is not to bring death to all those unfit to live. All we do must serve our true purpose, the preservation of our order and the survival of the Sith. We must work to grow our power, and to accomplish that we will need to interact with individuals of many species across many worlds. Eventually, word of our existence will reach the ears of the Jedi.
The next few hours will test the limits of your agility, speed, and accuracy. But this is more than a simple exercise in proficiency. It is a rite of passage for these beings, as they are assistants in our rise to ultimate power, and therefore servants of the dark side of the Force. Through power, we gain victory, and through victory, our chains are broken. Execute 1. Terrify 1,000.
My, Senator Palpatine. Are you ready to make history?
Rather than to be a casualty of it.
Well said, young sir. Needless to say, many are counting on you.
Better many than all, because we cannot please everyone.
Perhaps not. But we can strike a blow for utilitarianism. The greatest good for the greatest number.
And strike a blow we shall.
Good. Very good. Then we shall see you inside, where the galaxy's business is done.
Jedi Ronar.
Senator Palpatine. May I introduce Masters Dooku and Sidious.
A great honor, Masters.
Excuse me for staring, Senator, but Ranhar's descriptions of you led me to expect someone older.
I disguise myself well, Master Dooku.
Hold tight to that, Senator. Coruscant will surely test your resolve.
Well?
What a surprise. I didn't realize that you were acquainted.
Magister Damask.
Recently, on Sereno, in fact, Masters Dooku and Sidious and I engaged in a spirited discussion about the current state of the galaxy and our hopes for the future.
Sereno. Ah.
May I inquire how it is that you and the Senator know each other?
Senator Palpatine and Damask Holdings share a dream for Naboo. Palpatine was one of the few who early on saw the wisdom of ushering in a new era for his home world.
How does it feel to have realized your wish for your home world?
One can't very well stand in the way of destiny.
The will of the Force begets uncommon fellowships.
Honorable Senators, today we convene to decide on a matter that has stirred debate across this chamber for weeks. The question before us is whether to extend Senate representation to the planets of LUCENO, Marcana, and several others. Worlds that many regard as client states of the Trade Federation. Today we must decide if the inclusion of these systems serves the greater good of the Republic, or if it risks ceding too much power to corporate interest. The decision we make will resonate far beyond this hall, influencing the future of our governance and the values we uphold. Let your votes reflect not just the will of your systems, but the long-term welfare of the entire galaxy. We may now proceed with the vote.
The chair now recognizes the senator from the Grand Protectorate, Pax Team.
The Grand Protectorate votes against the Trade Federation.
The chair now recognizes the senator from the Chomel sector, representing Naboo. The decision rests on their votes.
10 years ago, the Trade Federation came to Naboo by invitation, following the discovery of a vast plasma reservoir beneath our planet. This resource had the potential to provide clean energy to hundreds of worlds, and introduce Naboo to the broader galactic community. After careful deliberation, our newly elected monarch decided that Naboo should share its wealth with the galaxy. Agreements were made with the Trade Federation and other corporations leading to mining operations, the construction of processing plants, and the expansion of our spaceports. 3 years later, plasma was flowing out to the galaxy, and wealth was flowing into Naboo. Our sector experienced unprecedented prosperity, though it came with hidden costs. Naboo accepted these for the benefit of others. Today we face concerns about the Trade Federation's growing influence as the Republic considers including several outlying systems, often seen as client worlds of the Federation.
What is this boy up to?
The issue of legality is settled. What remains is whether the Federation has become too aggressive in its pursuit of influence.
3 months ago, Senator Vidar Kim,
a long-serving representative of the Gormel sector, was assassinated here on Coruscant. Senator Kim was a respected figure, deeply concerned about the growing power of the cartels. His death sparked investigations, yet no progress has been made in identifying the culprits. This despite inquiries by judicials, the Senate Investigatory Committee, and the Jedi Order. In protest against the handling of this investigation, I have been instructed by the Regent King Bontepalo to announce that Naboo and the Carmel sector will abstain from the vote.
Damn that boy!
Felicia and Marcana, loyal as ever to the Trade Federation.
They practically handed over their systems on a silver platter.
And yet no one cares. New worlds means new taxes, and new taxes means fresh opportunities. For everyone to get their cut.
Except Pax Tem. He accuses Palpatine and Naboo of, and I quote, selling out to a cartel.
Head's just upset he backed the wrong cause. That Palpatine is already showing his footing in the Senate. Lots of potential from that boogie.
What is this? Lobbyists? In the lower districts, no less. Interesting. Perhaps I should inform Master. No, he's occupied. This does not require his attention. Some opportunities are best seized alone, including such as curious as this.
Senator Palpatine, it's an honor. Please, sit. The Rimmer trade route is a key opportunity for STP. With your support, Senator, our expansion could bring prosperity to countless systems.
I think you may have overestimated my value to STP. I am merely the voice of Naboo's regent.
And I think you undervalue yourself. Beings are talking about you, Senator. STP believes you can be of great service to us and to yourself.
In fact, you're not here to recruit me.
I'm not here to recruit you.
Then why are we here? Unexpected abduction? But by whom?
Upa wanya bunovada, wamakidopada boka yama. Ye makabunoa, Mr. Senator.
Apologies for not offering a more fitting seat, Senator. Surely the head of House Palpatine is accustomed to better.
Am I meant to ask why I have been abducted?
Not interested.
I assume this relates to Naboo's abstention in the vote.
Part of it. You should have voted as your predecessor would have.
Those weren't my instructions.
I am certain of that.
And the rest?
This has less to do with the beings that you serve. It's your misfortune to be caught in the middle.
I don't believe in bad luck, Senator. My abduction is retribution. Your tactics mirror those who ordered the assassination of Vidar Kim.
You act like it's a mystery. The murder wasn't ordered by the Trade Federation, it was by your Moon Master, Higo Damask.
He is hardly my master. I scarcely know him.
Don't play me for a fool, Palpatine. He greeted you like a close friend. But how close, I wonder?
He was extending his greeting to two Jedi Masters I happened to be with.
Don't lie. You and Damask have known each other for more than a decade. You helped him secure Bon Apollo's election.
A rumor with no basis begun by rivals of House Palpatine.
Again, lies. You betrayed your father's allies. Damask rewarded you with a position. And your career was born from treachery.
The ambassador appointment came years later, from my own political achievements.
Just like your Senate appointment? Right.
Speak plainly, team.
Well, you might not have killed Kim, but you were compliant. That Senate speech, it caught the attention of the Supreme Chancellor. But too bad, we plan to cut your career short.
Release whatever you have. It'll be gossip for the day, and forgotten by the next.
You misunderstand. We're not interested in your reputation. We intend to kill you.
What do you gain by killing me?
To rid the Senate of another crony, and to send a message to Higo Damask that his influence ends now. This retribution has been 10 years in the making. For some of us, even longer. Back to Damask's partnership with RYUCHI.
The assassination of KRIT Sante, I presume.
Repercussions? We've prepared, Palpatine. It is done.
One last chance to reconsider.
Tell that to the beings who hold your life in their hands. Take heart, Palpatine. You have accomplished so much in your brief career.
You're safe now, Senator Palpatine.
I can see that.
We have the source of the projection, Magister. Penelope Orbital Facility. Rendezvous with the rest of your team and execute the assault. Shall I leave personnel with Senator Palpatine? No. Senator Palpatine doesn't require protection. Leave us.
You have been keeping a close eye on me.
Your abduction's been in the works for some time.
Ever since you made it a point to greet me publicly at the Senate.
Even before that, the
tipped me off to a group of disgruntled nobles who'd made contact with the Gran. You might consider using St. Pestage to settle the score with them.
The thought did occur to me.
As for our public meeting, I needed to dangle you in front of them.
Without my knowledge? Another test?
Why should I need to test you?
Perhaps you thought I'd become so enthralled with life on Coruscant that I wouldn't recognize danger.
Clearly you did. I saw you were aware from the start. You were determined to please me, and you've done so. Even in partnership with Sante Security, Team and the other Gran are rank amateurs. Our agents guided them to use the eatery in Uskru and this factory, owned by us through Limerge power. However, we couldn't determine where the Gran would be taking refuge.
And now you know. But why go to such lengths to set them up? Why not just kill them?
This isn't Sith business, apprentice. For appearance's sake, we need to justify what's coming. They failed to heed our message, and now they must learn their lesson. But there are still other interests we need to convince.
How can I help?
You've already done your part. Now go about your usual business. We'll speak again when the ceremony at the Order of the Canted Circle is concluded.
Is there an end to these trials?
Yes, when there is no further need of them.
Magister, what precisely is the nature of the Order of the Canted Circle? You declined their offer to join, yet you still maintain ties to their members. What drives this enigmatic group?
An exclusive club, 114D. Its members are among the galaxy's most influential individuals who prefer subtlety over grand gestures, so to speak. I've been invited numerous times, and I've declined every request. The Circle serves a purpose. They're tools, useful when employed wisely, and as for Hill, he's a trusted asset. Once initiated, he'll become my principal agent on Coruscant. His son will lead the intergalactic banking clan going forward.
Intriguing. And, Magister, should we express gratitude for the young master's survival this evening?
Of course. And we should also be grateful that Pax's team will no longer be a concern by nightfall. Now, the ceremony requires our presence.
Larsh Hill, by the will of the Order of the Canted Circle, I now bestow upon you the mantle of initiation. Kneel.
about your usual business. Who does he think he is? After that whole affairs, this is not the life I envisioned. 10 years ago, when I swore loyalty to the dark side of the Force, I thought I would be more power, more control, not limit.
There you are. Where have you been?
I was occupied.
Did you get my messages?
About what?
The Maladians.
Maladians? Ego Damask. Come with me, quickly, and ready my speeder.
I will achieve it. Nothing less than my body and mind, yes, that will suffice. Everlasting life.
Magister Damask.
I can be of
service.
We need to leave. The Jedi may have felt this.
Let them inhale the aroma of the dark side.
Take him. He needs medical treatment.
Wait, where are you going?
I am needed elsewhere, and it won't be business as usual this time.
The end of Ego Damask's reign of tyranny to our pockets will bring prosperity to your pockets and to the Senate. To the future of Malestar and our allies, secure and undivided.
Karatia Tobo Banga, Theobo Blasto, Hijo Poca Bukrina, Wabana Komura. Ijuna. Hijo Poca Bukrina. Ijuna the Apple.
To the prosperity that we've earned and the enemies we've buried. Now, with Damask gone, we can make new deals, ensure new bills to go forward without...
Czekaj komputa. Rzucimy nim poleszany. Nisza kapika czaka.
Pax team.
They're all dead! My family!
Oh, and soon you will join them, team. A casualty of history.
No! Palpatine, no! Palpatine!
You appear to be in much better condition than when I last saw you, droid.
Yes, Senator Palpatine. Abora is a restorative place.
En Majestat Damask.
I leave it to you to judge for yourself, sir.
Is Majestat Damask your maker?
No, sir. He is simply my present master.
And these?
These are the Magister's most recent pregnancies.
The Magistars?
Ongoing experiments. His success rate has improved.
What is this?
That is venomous.
You are still strong in the Force, Master.
Your thoughts betray you. Do you think that Lalek's powers were weakened by Revan's lightsaber? Bathed by being encrusted in overrisks? Do you think Gravid's young apprentice was hindered by the prosthesis she was forced to wear after fighting him?
No, Master.
Soon I will be stronger than you can possibly imagine. But come, we have much to discuss. I am pleased to see how quickly you have changed, how powerful you have become, Lord Sidious. What happened on Coruscant was meant to happen, but I take consolation in the fact that the events have shaped you into a true Sith Lord. You are indeed ready to learn the secrets I have been safeguarding.
What is this place, Master?
Think of it as a vessel that contains all the things to which I am devoted. all the things I love.
This may be the first time I have ever heard you utter the word.
Only because no other term exists that adequately expresses my unconditional attachment to the creatures and beings with whom I share this place. Love without compassion, however, for compassion has no part in this.
The Bith. Venomous.
Dispatched by Tenebris to test me, to eliminate me had I failed. But Venomous had been a gift, essential in helping me unlock some of the deepest secrets of the Force. Every creature you have glimpsed or sensed here has been a similar blessing, as you will see when I lead you into the mysteries.
What did the droid mean when it said the Magister's pregnancies?
It means that the pregnancies were not achieved by normal means of conception, but rather through the Force.
The Force?
Yes, but I failed to exercise due caution. As we attempt to wrest the powers of life and death from the Force, as we seek to tip the balance, the Force resists our efforts. Action and reaction, Sidious. Something akin to the laws of thermodynamics. I have been audacious, and the Force has tested me the way Tenebris sought to. Midichlorians are not easily persuaded to execute the dictates of one newly initiated in the mysteries. The Force needs to be won over, especially in work that involves the dark side. It must be reassured that a Sith is capable of accepting authority. Otherwise, it will thwart one's intentions. It will engineer misfortune. It will strike back.
The Melodians.
Perhaps, but in any case, this is why the Jedi Order has descended into decadence and is dragging the Republic down with it. The Jedi have lost the allegiance of the Force. Yes, their ability to draw energy from the Force continues, but their ability to use it has diminished. Each of their actions engendered an opposite, often unrecognized consequence that elevates those attuned to the dark side. To say that the Force works in mysterious ways is to admit one's ignorance. For any mystery can be solved through the application of knowledge and unrelenting effort. As we had our way with the Senate, and as we will soon have our way with the Republic and the Jedi, we will have our way with the Force.
What would you have me do, Master?
I will relocate to Sojourn in order to devote myself fully to our investigations, to furthering the Imperative, and to healing myself.
What will become of Abora?
For the time being, it can serve as a repository.
And Damask Holdings.
The group will not be reformed, though I may continue to host annual gatherings. And I will tutor Sandhill personally to prepare him for assuming chairmanship of the banking clan.
Why do we need them?
Because war is now on the agenda, Sidious. But our actions must be circumspect, restricted to those star systems rife with petty conflicts. Where appropriate beings can be encouraged, appropriate operations can be funded. We must arrange for the worlds in the Outer Rim to suffer while the core prospers. Pathetic as those worlds may be, we have no choice but to use what we have at hand. But all in due time. For now, Sidious, know that you are the blade we will drive through the heart of the Senate, the Republic, and the Jedi Order, and I, your guide to reshaping the galaxy. Together we are the newborn stars that complete the Sith constellation.
I am relieved to learn that I didn't disappoint you, Master. But the Jedi summoned the police to the Phobose district moments after we left. The plan is already endangered.
The Jedi have long known that the dark side has been reawakened and cannot be checked by them. Now they have felt it on their own Coruscant.
Even so, we cannot continue to risk exposure.
You have more to say about this.
Master, would you consider training someone in the Sith arts to execute whatever missions are required?
Another Venomous? In defiance of our partnership?
Not an apprentice. Not someone who could ever aspire to become a true Sith Lord. But someone skilled in stealth and combat, who could be eliminated when no longer needed.
You already have someone in mind.
You instructed me to keep an eye out for beings who might prove helpful. I found such a one on Dathomir, not a year ago. A male Dathomiri Zabrak infant.
Many Zabrak demonstrate strength in the Force, by nature it would seem.
This infant does? The mother birthed two and sought to save one from the clutches of the Night Sisters, especially from one known as Talzin.
You purchased him?
Accepted him.
Where is he?
I brought him to the accounting facility that Damask Holdings maintains on Mustafar, and left him in the care of the custodial droids.
Mustafar had served as a place to dispose of enemies and evidence long before Boss Carver's reclamation station had been made available to Higo Damask and others. And the mother?
Alive. For now.
Might not the Tolzin pursue the infant?
She may.
Then it will be your business if she does. Leave the infant on Mustafar in the care of the droids, but begin to train him. Inure him to pain, Lord Sidious, so that he will be able to serve us fully. Should his Force talents fail to mature, eliminate him. But if he measures up, relocate him at your discretion to Orsis. There you will find an elite training center operated by a Valine combat specialist named Triza. He and I have had dealings. Triza will raise the Zabrak to be fierce, but steadfast in his loyalty. You, however, will supervise his training in the dark side. Do not speak of the Sith or our plans until he has proven himself, and do not deploy him against any of our salient enemies until I have had a chance to evaluate him.
I understand, Master.
The Force provides, Sidious. As nature provides more male beings in the aftermath of war, the Force, ever mindful of balance, provides being strong at the dark side when light has ruled for so long. This Zabrak bodes well.
The Sith Lords who follow us will pay tribute to your wisdom, Master.
No, Lord Sidious, because we are the end of the line. Everything done here has been for a single purpose: to extend our reign indefinitely.